Thank you. Well, Bashar, first of all, I want to thank you for, from all of me to all of you, for the preparedness that you brought to this reality for all of us at this time.
Again, it is our passion and our pleasure to be engaged with all of you in this way.
Well, it's been very helpful to me. I'm able to stay within my center and focused on what's going on within me and seeing the invisible barriers between different realities and really being in an active state with myself and a high level of neutrality. So thank you so much, from my heart to yours.
All right, well, we are again happy to provide the information, but we also extend our deep appreciation and thanks to you for being willing to actually apply it in your life, because that's the only thing that really makes the difference.
Yes, and I'm glad I did.
All right.
Yes, I have a question. I'd like to share have you share a little bit more about the simulacrum. I understand what it means to me, but in my reality, have I, through my trainings and understandings, created a third reality within myself for a third mind that is connected with the future self of myself?
Yes, that is always there in that process. No matter how little or much of it you may do, a third Venn, shall we say, overlap or simulacrum is always necessary for that to be experienced on any level.
So in the idea, is that what you would refer to as also a third reality?
Yes.
So in the third reality sense of that idea, is that coming through our reality in a stronger sense now because of our focus has changed a little bit here?
Yes, and we will be talking a little bit more about this in an upcoming transmission called the Parallel Reality Wheel, because that is the general mechanism that is utilized to be more aware of different parallel realities that are overlapping in the here and now, is to create, in a sense, a series of third realities that represents the blending between what you consider your reality to be and another parallel reality. And the more parallel realities you become aware of, the more third realities are created to act as go-betweens or simulacrums so that they can be experienced in that way in your reality.
Now, is that also acting as a bridge for me, for all of us, to go into our future network template for those selves that are available to us now?
Yes.
I've been exploring a little bit of that, and it's been very easy. It's been a seamless connection for me.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm just curious. I live in Sedona, and I would like to know what your location is now. How many miles above?
7,000 of your miles.
Okay. So are we doing everything we can, or can we do more?
You can always do more, but you're doing okay.
All right. Well, I just wanted to connect with you on this note because I'm very grateful for the presence I'm able to give back to this experience right now.
You have our gratitude as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's my highest excitement to interact with you.
And ours as well, to interact with you and all of the rest of you.
Wonderful. And so my first question, I want to ask about this idea of when they say someone is a clear channel and they have no filter, do they still have to have some vibrational relativity or vicinity to the information that's coming through or that they're translating in order to be able to receive it?
Part of the idea of the training is to alter the vibrational frequency of the personality so that it is a better receiver for other kinds of information that may be representative of different frequencies that the channel may not ordinarily access. So yes, they have to have some training or affinity for the vibration that allows for the connection of the third reality in which the information can be accessed. Yes.
Okay. And then my next question, there's this terminology that I hear a lot of channels say, the leading edge. What reference do you have for that?
From our perspective, the idea of the leading edge is that there is an aspect to the entire collective consciousness of your planet that is like a wave, an expanding wave of consciousness, but it is also based partly not only in non-physical, but in physical reality. And therefore, there are certain, shall we say, pressures or resistances in physical reality that pile up against the expansion wave, creating a border or barrier that might be considered the leading edge of the expansion, because there is still a vibrational difference between the front of that wave and the reality that it is changing, which may have still a little bit of resistance to it.
That's really cool. And is there any relativity to the idea of like quantum, like the wave and the particle function? Does that have any relevance there?
Well, there are some cross correlations, but not necessarily exactly in the way that we just described.
Okay. And speaking of the wave and the particle, I was reading a book and they talked about the idea of it's like where our brain is searching for things. And you mentioned that we're shifting billions of times per second. Is that any relevance to the wave and the particle?
It does.
Okay. Can you expand on that?
Well, the idea is that consciousness must be understood to be part of the equation. And when it is understood that way, you will see that it manifests this idea of so-called duality in the concept you call space-time. And in manifesting that duality, you will always have both expressions of energy and matter, wave and particle, as you say, that will allow you the opportunity to know that you sit squarely in between them as a conscious entity, generating them both, so that you have the opportunity to understand your reality as being far more fluid and flexible than you otherwise might have been taught to see. Do you follow?
Yeah, I do.
So science is beginning to break through those understandings and create the idea that reality itself isn't necessarily as solid as you used to think, that the very idea of space-time may need to be dissolved in the understanding that all of these things issue from the consciousness field that exists prior to the experience of space and time. In other words, to use an example, you have in your quantum physics the concept of entanglement. Do you understand?
Yes.
But many of your scientists thought, and many still think, that this idea of entanglement demonstrates action at a distance, that if you have two particles that were created and they split off and go in two different directions and are light years apart, but you still manipulate one particle, knowing that the other particle is then simultaneously manipulated, making it appear as if they are breaking the speed of light barrier, because how can the information of this manipulation reach that particular particle faster than the speed of light? So many have assumed and coined the phrase that this is spooky action at a distance that they didn't understand. However, it is not a demonstration of action at a distance. It is a demonstration that distance is an illusion.
Very cool.
Because those particles are actually still here and now, no matter where they appear to be in the illusion of physical space-time and volume. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Therefore, all of these kinds of understandings and recognitions are beginning to break down the concept of what quantum reality really is, which is simply one of the first expressions of consciousness creating a matrix and a crystallization, shall we say, field that creates the foundation of what you experience as the physical reality dream. It's just an expression that lays a carpet down for you or a game board down for you so you can play the physical reality game.
That's pretty cool. And
does that make sense?
It does make sense. And so is there, what function do our brains have in this idea of the like things shifting billions of times per second? What mechanism? What's actually happening there?
Well, the idea is that you become literally a new person with a new brain that is more adapted to the idea of the vibrational shift of the reality that you have made. You never have the same brain. You never even have the same atomic structure.
So crazy. I love that.
Yes.
That's really exciting.
It is.
And thank you for that. And then my next question. So I want to give a huge testament to acting on my excitement. I'm doing it to the best of my ability, and I'm experiencing so much synchronicity and so much many kind of alignment signs. It can sometimes be a little overwhelming, just in the fact that there's so much of it that it's almost like people around me don't know how to handle it, and so I'm having an adjustment there. Do you have any advice?
There will always be an adjustment. Just remember the entire formula, and you'll be fine. Everything will adapt around you as it needs to. Some things will not adapt, but then those things are not necessarily going to remain part of the reality that you prefer to experience.
Yeah. And so one of the consistent kind of synchronicity signs I'm having is 9/11. I keep seeing that on the clock. I see mostly all of the numbers, but that one seems to be the most consistent that I see every day.
Yes, well, it has generally become a symbol in your reality of the idea of abrupt, unexpected change.
Interesting. Okay. And so with that, I want to thank you for the transmission that you gave us on in December of Eye of the Storm 2020. That has been really paramount to
all right.
remaining in the center. I feel like I'm in this bubble reality of just well-being and experiencing a lot of really great synchronicity and a lot of beautiful things.
It is a companion, and the first part that is connected to this particular interaction, going from the eye of the storm now to what we are calling the eye of the needle, which is the narrow passage you are all passing through at this time, by being able to use this time to strip yourselves down to your essential core and let go of those things that are no longer you, so you can more effortlessly use the calm in the center of the eye of the storm to pass through the narrow passage of the eye of the needle and come out the other side in a manner that is more representative of who you prefer to be.
That's what it feels like, a lot of awareness of things that are just choices, not necessarily that they're wrong or bad, but just a lot of options that I'm aware of, that I can choose what works for me.
This is the time to make choices. This is the time to decide. This is the pivot point. This is the eye of the needle. This is the passage.
Beautiful. And then you did mention, though, that you said 2020 was going to be nuts, and I have to agree. But you also said that there would be some event in September with the Eastern Bloc. And so I guess it's going to be even more nuts than we're experiencing right now.
I cannot comment on that at this time.
Okay.
You are not yet, any of you, on the other side of the eye of the needle.
Okay. Good to know. And then the last thing I just want to ask about is another synchronicity sign. Time feels so funny to me. A couple years ago, it is funny. There was an energy that I kept feeling around me, and you had said there was a name to this energy, Sadie, and it never manifested in an actual human baby that I was feeling. But I do keep seeing signs of this truck that keeps coming into my awareness, Sadie Rose. Do you have anything to say on that?
It is, in some sense, an opportunity to recognize that at that moment you are in the proper state when you see that synchronicity to communicate with that being.
Okay.
So just open up your mind and let in what comes in at that moment and see what you get.
Thank you so much, Bashar. I appreciate you.
As we appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, Bashar. During the DNA alterations from other civilizations, are these done during the fetus time? If so, how are these alterations done?
Many of them are done during fetal periods, but they also may continue for quite some time into childhood and sometimes even into adulthood, depending on what it is that needs to be altered. The idea is that it is done energetically, vibrationally, with certain kinds of energy frequencies that are representative of reformatting the DNA structure, delinking and relinking, and the creation, even sometimes, of new elements that fit into the structure, that are connected to other dimensions and other realms. It is a process that sometimes can be ongoing for quite some time in the life of any particular individual who is participating in the hybridization agenda towards the idea of Earth becoming the 6th hybrid race.
As adults, can we begin to remember parts of the collective from that civilization?
You can remember what is going on in the collective if you let go of the fear and allow yourselves to become more conscious of your choice to participate in the hybridization agenda and ask for the experiences to continue or to be remembered on your own terms, in your own way, so that you may know yourself as a true participant, having chosen to be, then yes, the idea is that you can begin to tap into the knowledge and information that will allow you what you call the memory of what is going on the collective level and even on the individual levels of those who are participating in the hybridization agenda.
Hola, Bashar. I'm Mariana from Colombia. I'm so excited and glad I have the opportunity to ask you a question. And I really wanted to know if you have any special advice for Latin American people and young people during these upcoming years. Thank you.
The advice that we have just given in this transmission and will give in the meditation to anchor in this permission slip of passage through the eye of the needle, now that you are all sequestered in your own places, will be of paramount importance to allow you to center yourselves and strip away those things that won't allow you to pass through the eye of the needle to the other side into a world that is more representative of the kind of reality that you prefer to experience. So the things that we have shared with you this day of the causations of the present circumstance and what you can do to create the balance and restoration of your planet and your energy and your collective consciousness in the way we have described through this particular permission slip exercise will be what is of paramount importance to undertake during this time of sequestering.
Hello, Bashar. I hope you're well. I've thought about this, and I guess the core of what I'm wanting to ask is, how do I get out of the headspace of always thinking that I need to chase the money? And how do I move in to the heart space of, following my heart more decidedly and with less doubt? Thank you very much. That is all. Good day.
Remember, first and foremost, that doubt is simply a 100% trust in a belief you don't prefer, in a belief that is out of alignment with your true self. There's no such thing as a lack of trust. Doubt is not a lack of trust. It is trusting something you don't prefer. But the idea of going more into your heart space with abundance is to form an understanding in a new relationship with the concept of what abundance actually is. As we have defined it, again, it is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Money is one of the forms of abundance or one of the symbols of abundance in exchange on your planet, but it isn't the only one. Being given a gift is a form of abundance. Having something to trade is a form of abundance. Imagination is a form of abundance, and synchronicity is a form of abundance. So forming a broader relationship with the concept of abundance and allowing all forms to come in when they need to in pure, perfect timing will allow a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that to work together to form the 100% abundance that you may need to allow you the ability to continue to act on your passion in life. So to come from the heart, you must relax the mind in understanding that it is more, shall we say, realistic to allow for many forms of abundance to pervade existence and to come through you in any way, shape, or form they need to, rather than closing those doors to prevent other forms of abundance from coming in just because you are so highly focused on needing only one form of abundance, which can often shortchange you because it may not be the form that is actually the path of least resistance for what you need to do.
Hi, Bashar. I was wondering if you could clarify the difference between a relationship where you give your power away to someone else and one where you don't give your power away to someone else. How would we recognize the difference? It seems as if every relationship there's some sort of exchange of energy. Is energy different than how you've defined power? Thank you.
Well, again, most people, when they're honest with themselves, will recognize the difference between true excitement and anxiety. They just have to be honest with themselves. And the phrase, by the way, giving your power away, is not really an accurate description of what's happening. You can never actually give your power away. You can, however, use your power to make yourself feel powerless, to make yourself feel as if you have given your power away. But all you're doing is matching the frequency of what the other person is suggesting that you should do. So if you don't match that frequency, you will not be able to have the experience of using your power to create the experience or the appearance of having given your power away. So the first and foremost thing to understand is power cannot be given away, but you can create the experience as if that's what's happening by simply matching the frequency of something you don't prefer just because it was suggested or offered to you by another person who may be dealing with that issue themselves. It's all based on frequency, all based on vibration of consciousness. And again, there is no actual exchange. There is a harmonizing, a matching, a mirroring of frequencies to have similar experiences at the same time, whether negative or positive. So stop thinking in terms of actually giving something away. Stop thinking in terms of actually literally exchanging energy. You are using your own energy in your own reality and changing the frequency of it to be either more or less similar to the frequency someone else is displaying. That's how those experiences happen in your own reality, is because you are tuning yourselves to the same frequency or a similar enough frequency to someone else to have the same experience, positive or negative, at the same time as the other person. So in that sense, power is energy, energy is power, and it's all based on resonance. It's all based on frequency. It's all based on vibration.
Hello, Bashar. I entered a new parallel reality lately, which is totally different from the ones that I have been living before, so to speak. And I know that it resembles of who I truly am. So now my question is, how can I surrender fully to this control that is already built in this new stream so fully, so profoundly, that I can totally clearly see myself from the new point of view only? Thank you.
Again, the things that we have described in this particular permission slip that will allow you to pass through the eye of the needle and come out the other side as more your true self can aid and assist you in this endeavor. So pay attention to the process that we described in the monologue and crystallize it for yourself in the meditation that will accompany this transmission as well. And there will be an upcoming transmission in the near future called the Parallel Reality Wheel that may also act as a permission slip to crystallize this concept for you more clearly.
Hi Bashar, my name is Gabriela, I'm from Canada, and I have a few questions for you. My first question is, what's your favorite dish, and what's your favorite specific activity?
As you know, I am a first contact specialist, and therefore that is representative of my passion, but other expressions of my passion are as an explorer, as a sculptor, utilizing certain kinds of nanotechnology to create certain forms that are vibrationally and physiologically representative of different flows and vibrations of energy within existence, and allow others, by matching those frequencies, to have different kinds of interactive experiences with other levels of consciousness that I may have encountered in my journey as a first contact specialist. As I have also said, we no longer eat, we no longer sleep. So in that sense, I cannot answer your question of having a favorite dish. If dish is what you meant by food, we no longer eat.
And what's your favorite song?
The vibrations that move me at any given moment at that moment are my favorite because they move me in my passion. Whatever that may be. Of course, as we have said, Ethithani music is a little different than earth music in that it would seem very simplistic to you, based on trinary structures, 3-count formulas, but where you might only hear a simple note, we would hear a symphony because we can hear more chords than you. We can hear more vibrations than you because we are tuned to different dimensional levels of sound or what may pass for sound in different dimensions. But whatever moves me at any given moment, at that moment is my favorite because it moves me.
My second question is, what is aggression? Can you define it? And how does it help us?
It is a fear-based belief system that has to do with desperation and feeling that you are not going to get what you need unless you assert yourself beyond normal parameters. It is a fear of lack, manifesting itself as a behavior that overwhelms because it is believed that the overwhelm must be expressed in order for the individual to receive what they need, because they do not believe in the automatic power of their natural balance to bring them what they need.
And my last question is a little bit fantastic. I've heard that apparently mermaids are real. So how can I meet one? What would be like the procedure to follow?
The procedure to follow to meet what you call a mermaid would be that you would have to transition to another dimension where they actually exist. Because even though now and then one of them may come through a portal into your reality, they do not live in your reality, and therefore they are not something that you can automatically find anywhere you go. You would have to transition into their dimension of reality, and we will not discuss exactly, precisely how to do that yet. There may be some information to this regard in the upcoming transmission called the Parallel Reality Wheel, but that is not something we will address in specific terms at this particular moment.